Sorry, I'm pulling out my notes. All right. And one. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My group, we are group number 4. This is Yalin Rodriguez, Vanessa Morales, and myself, Daisy Marquez. And today we will be going over Pregnant Teens Career Path for our Lifestyle and Career Development course. Now, to get us started, we will first talk about our agenda for today. So we have our population description. We're going to be going over career-related issues, some of them because we know that there are quite a bit that we can dive into. Career-related activities and demonstrations, resources for counselors, resources for the population, and insights, advice, and warnings that we may have. And of course, all of the resources that we use for today's presentation will be included on a reference list for you to dive into. So let's get started here. So first, we want to give you an insight on El Paso County, and especially diving into adolescent health. And what we found out was pretty shocking for my own self. So a baby is born to a teen mom in El Paso County every 12 hours. So that really puts it into perspective on how frequent this is for our county in specific. So some disparities, factors such as access to healthcare, information, and economic opportunity can lead to disparities in teen birth rates. So within the teen birth rate, we have our comparison between El Paso and Texas overall. So within our Hispanic population, we do see that it is the most affected by teen pregnancy. In El Paso, we have 25.8. In overall Texas, we have 28.7. For a Black demographic here in El Paso, we do not have a number, but in overall Texas, we have 22.4. For the white population, we have 20.8, and in Texas, 11.1. For the Asian population, there is no numbers on there, but in the Texas overall, we have 1.6. So in 2021, the birth rate for Hispanic teens in El Paso County was 2.1 times higher than white teens. Now, this gap decreased to 1.2 times higher in 2022. So this is just an insight for where we're at. So overall, in El Paso, teen births in 2022, we're going to dive deeper into what do these teen births actually consist of based off of age. So out of the total number of births, which was 770 in 2022, 15 of those were of ages between 10 and 14-year-olds. 214 of those were between 15 and 17-year-olds, and then 541 were of 18 to 19-year-olds. So it's a pretty big number that we are facing with here. And as well as a visual graph to give us a visual representation of where we're at of the numbers that we have already described between Texas, El Paso County, and the U.S. overall. And so as you can see, the El Paso birth teen rate has increased by 5% in 2022. And it was the first increase in 14 years, and now is 76% higher than the rest of the U.S. and 18% higher than the Texas rate. Now, moving on to the next slide. Other things considering this population is non-health social factors. So structural issues such as poverty and lack of access to healthcare can contribute to teen pregnancies. 27% of El Paso County children live in poverty, and 39% of young adults ages 19 to 26 don't have access to health insurance. So this can definitely impact the prenatal care that teen pregnant individuals get when they're pregnant, as well as sexually transmitted infections, in addition to the lack of education and lack of resources that we have for informative conversations about sexually transmitted infections, as well as pregnancy. We do see that there is a really high number of STIs here in El Paso. So we have our descriptions here to give us a little bit more of a visual of what we're facing with. And another thing to be mindful of whenever we are interacting with our clients. Now, career-related issues, teen parents struggle with environmental exploration. Therefore, acts such as researching careers that interest the teen, those that are available in the surrounding areas, and career exploration should be encouraged. Now, taking a strengths-based approach when interacting with teen parents, focusing on their individual needs and connecting them to resources will have the most positive impact. Remembering to not only focus on the negatives, trying to focus on what does the individual client have, what are their positive qualities, and how can we enhance them. That's what we mean by a strengths-based approach. Now, with teen parents, they are less likely to be employed, and if they are, they're usually forced into low-level vocational careers that earn lower incomes. Now, the educational hourly compensation and annual wage trajectory gap between teen parents with lower initial education levels versus non-teen parents with higher education levels increases over time. Now, to give us a visual representation of what we're looking at, so here we have trajectory of education, hourly compensation, and annual wage. So you can visually see that there's a huge difference and gap between non-teen parents, which is a line that is the full line, and then the teen parents, which is the dotted line. Now, some additional points that I would like to make here is teen parents are more likely to earn annual wages of $2,151 lower than non-teen parent peers when they are 21 to 24 years old. Now, the amount of wage increase per 2 years during their 20s and early 30s was $2,009 less than their non-teen parents. The important note here is that the teen parent status itself did not have a direct negative association with the lower growth of annual wages. Now, the results from this article that you're seeing here shows that teen parents were more likely to experience a lower increase in their annual wages over the 10 years from 2005 to 2015 compared with their non-teen peers, not just because they were teen parents, like we were stating, but because teen parents had a lower initial education level. So here, supporting them in graduating from high school, providing holistic interventions that encourages support from family and teachers and inspires personal motivation for education is needed. Again, each teen is going to be very different. Their needs are going to vary. So it's going to be our job to, one, understand those needs, but to connect them to those resources that are necessary for them. And so those are the things that I have brought up for the population description here.
I am so sorry, Vanessa's with a client.
No worries. Let me see. I wonder if I can pause.
Okay, so career-related activities and demonstrations. So the following examples can be used within either a therapy session individually or with a group. So they can be tailored to either being individually. Some of them are more of a group project, but you can cater it to being individual. There are plenty of activities to select from. It is important to understand the needs of pregnant teens or teen parents and tailor activities to them. So we picked these activities because they're barely getting into the working field. So these activities can provide more of an understanding on how getting jobs works as well. So we have 3 different activities. The first one is, how does one apply for jobs? What does that look like? So we'll be looking at 3 different job applications that are all the same for the same job type, and see how just writing the application can affect whether you get called for an interview or not. The next one's going to be role playing, networking activities. So we're going to learn how to network a little bit, to mingle with other people, and to get out of that comfort zone. The last one is going to be looking at the cost of providing for a baby, so that they can get an idea of how much it actually costs to raise a kid. Next slide. So the first activity is who would you call for an interview? So first impressions matter. This can start at the basic, going into the job and finding a job application or asking for one. So we also want to go dressed. I wouldn't say you don't want to wear a suit and tie, but you do want to go dressed professional. Even you can be in jeans and sneakers. Just with the interview, you do have to be more professional. But when asking for the application, you do want to make that first impression. And sometimes you don't turn in the application to the direct person. It does go to, say, an employee or another manager. So that first application is you meeting the employer for the first time. They see a little bit of your personality throughout the job application. So the way you fill out the job application matters. According to GFC Global, applications that are not filled out correctly are often rejected. So it is important to fill them out as best as you can and with as much information as you can. So in this activity, clients will be shown 3 job applications. Then the client must decide which application they choose to be interviewed. They should allow an insightful conversation on professionalism, things to be mindful of, and much more. So the 3 applicants in this activity is going to be Mary Stone, Maya Brown, and Sarah Blackwell. So we'll go over the 3 applications and see who you would call. So this first one, overall, I would say it's filled out good, but it is in colored ink. We want to stick to black and white ink. And a lot of the job applications now are going to be online. So sometimes you don't have to worry about that. But the content or the content of the job application does matter. So this one you can see is filled out. There is some, like on the high school education, it's going to be like nope. So we don't want to put that. We want to put things as when do you expect to graduate? You can put the month and year. The next one is going to be towards the end, professional references. Those are going to be good references because they were supervisors, but it's a little bit ineligible. The next one. So this one is the ideal. So this one's filled out pretty, it's legible, everything's pretty much complete. The special skills, bilingual, they answer in English and Spanish. They've had 1 job, and then all their professional references are complete. Next one. So this one is also pretty good. The only thing with this one is going to be, it's a little bit messy. So we do see, like on employment desired, you have that scratched out. When you're correcting a job application like that, you can just do a straight line and then initial. The next one is like on professional reference, is not having an address, and it's not a professional one, it's a neighbor. So we do want to stick with professional ones if that's a teacher speaking to teens, someone that they volunteered with, things like that. Next one. The next activity is going to be mock networking. So this is going to be to help them get out of that comfort zone. So this next activity is to assist teen parents in the art of networking by providing examples of what to ask in conversation at work or at school. The goal here is to get the client to a point where they feel comfortable networking, and this activity is intended for a group setting. Next slide. So the first step, once you see the little example, it will make sense. But individually, the client is going to have 5 minutes to answer each prompt. And then the second part, once they finished, the counselor is going to say network, and they have 10 minutes to walk around and mingle with other group members. They will need to find another group member with the same answer. When they do, they write their name in the box, and you can only write a person's name once. So this is to also get them to talk to other people. So they might know people in the group. Oh, my friend, I know that we have the same birth month. That's one of the questions. So it kind of forces them to go out of their way and talk to different people within that group setting. And then why is networking beneficial, especially for pregnant and teen parents? So this is important because you make acquaintances, you can make friends. You can say, hey, you know what? One parent has their child that's 1 to 2 years. The next one has a newborn and they need a car seat, and that other client can be like, hey, you know what? I have an extra car seat. So that's just one of the ways. Another way is finding other resources. So teens typically don't have a lot of money, so they can give resources like, hey, you know what? I went to this place and got diapers, or I know this resource that others might not. So that's one way that they can start helping each other and also build a support system within their own community. Next slide. So this is an example of the mock networking. So they would go out, fill out what it is about themselves. Then the next one would be client or counselor. So you can also do this with the counselor. Okay, next. This next one is going to be the activity, The Price is Right. So in this activity, the clients will guess the price of baby items listed. Then the counselor will go over the actual price of the items and converse about the average cost to support a newborn for 1 month. Next slide. So this one, we're going to do this activity together, me and Daisy. So Daisy is going to get a minute and a half to write down what she thinks the price of these items are.
I'm a teen. I have no idea what prices are. So I'm just going to be guessing some wild numbers here.
And this is a good activity to also get to know, like, some people don't have kids or some people have multiple kids. So it's important to know, like, hey, if one person has to buy 2 sizes of diapers, or one person just has to buy 1, or a kid is allergic to this type of formula. So things can get pricey, especially with formula. You'll see the price right now, but on some of the prices, it increases with the more sensitive formulas, things like that. And then some of the things that counselors might hear is, oh, well, I'll just breastfeed. That is another option, and it could save money, but there is also a lot that goes with that as well.
In my
You let me know when you...
Yes. In my total, I got $155.
Okay, let's go to the next slide.
All right.
So these are the prices. Okay, so these are the prices. It says that on average, the first month is the most expensive, and that's buying clothes, accessories, car seats, strollers, items like that, more of the big ticket items. So the baby formula is $35, but it can go up depending on the type of formula. Next slide. So this one is an example of an average cost for a newborn. So doing the math, the package of 96 diapers, the package of 168 wipes, baby formula, and then we also listed the average need of a child, of a newborn. So an average newborn goes through 280 diapers, which can equal 85. 800 wipes, which equals $35, 8 cans of formula, which equals $280. So that's just $400 a month on just diapers, wipes, and formula. In the average middle income family could expect to spend 16 to 17,000 on child related expenses within 1 year.
My goodness.
Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and move on to resources for counselors. So teenage pregnancy can be a problematic awakening to many young women and a incoming barrier when it comes to completing education, seeking employment. And as counselors, it is very important to be informed of different barriers this population faces. So for our first website, Plan International, it offers a insight to different factors that play a role in teenage pregnancy, such as a lack of information about both sexual and reproductive health, limited access to contraceptives, as previously mentioned, culture expectations, and sexual violence surround the results of teenage pregnancy. Secondly, as a counselor, it's essential to provide a non-judgmental environment towards our clients and provide accurate facts about different options such as caring for pregnancy, adoption, or in some cases, abortion. And in our website, Explore Teenage Pregnancy Counseling, they offer a detailed orientation of the counselor's role when assisting a client who is currently going through a teenage pregnancy. It also provides insights on how teenagers cope with pregnancy to get a better understanding of what they may be thinking or feeling in the moment. Lastly, our teenage pregnancy has been found to be the leading cause of high school dropout rates among adults and women. So the website Campus Explorer gives different strategies, such as developing an individual plan for both the teenagers as well as the parents, and discuss possible barriers, realistic goals, and timelines. It also helps finding community resources and assist in creating an effective resume that can be done with the client in order to prevent dropout rates and provide a guide towards earning their diploma. So now resources for the population. So when finding employment, pregnant youth face barriers related to education, childcare, and unpreparedness. So it is crucial to understand different resources and services offered. For example, Career One Stop. It prepares and offers individuals the opportunity to receive a high school equivalency diploma, such as a general education development or GED here in Texas. And this is a good alternative for those who dropped out of high school due to pregnancy. Secondly, the Young Women's Christian Association, also known as the YWCA, they provide a welcoming environment and support intellectual, emotional, physical, social, and moral aspects of young women. And one of the many services offered is childcare, which can benefit pregnant adolescents and offer them an opportunity to seek employment or continue their education. And lastly, the website CHRON. It offers a step-by-step guide to taking the first steps in seeking a career, either by locating a career counselor, developing a personal plan of career interests, finding childcare, and networking. Knowing what steps to take when finding a career of interest or employment is crucial. And this is one of the barriers that many young women face. So this website would be of great assistance towards them. Okay, so we're gonna do insights, advice, and warnings. So one of the things is postpartum depression. So we know that that's always a risk with pregnancy and after. but teens are 2 times more likely to develop postpartum depression than their counterpart adult mother. So we need to, as counselors, we need to be taking extra precaution in that. So we can offer additional support and resources for postpartum depression. We can also let them know what the warning signs are, because it's so prevalent, and a lot of the moms, they don't realize what's going on with them until it's too late too. So this can be like being disconnected from the baby, irritability, not sleeping, extreme anxiety, and this can all be related to having a newborn. This is your first time as a mother and the child's first time being alive. So it is stressful. So as a counselor, we should watch out for postpartum depression warnings, symptoms and signs. So again, that can be extreme anxiety, irritability, not sleeping, not eating, lack of connection with the baby, thoughts of harming the baby, things like that. And then let them know that it's normal in the sense that these thoughts are going to pass by, but they do need that additional support. So resources such as direction to social services, support groups, and diaper pantries to alleviate some of the stressors. So direction to social services, that's going to go into the other one of develop intense case management. But you can also provide support groups, and have access to diaper pantries, because teens don't have a lot of money to begin with. So one of the things is getting diapers. The next one is going to be encourage teen parents to finish high school and continue their education, because only 40% of teen mothers, moms who had their baby before 18, finish high school. And then less than 2% of teen moms finish college by the age of 30. So it's important to push them to continue their education, because to increase their income. Like Daisy had said earlier in the beginning, they tend to stay at those low income jobs or like minimum wage jobs. So continuing their education and finishing high school, or even finding alternative programs such as GED classes, things like that. And then the next one is develop intense case management for pregnant and postpartum, and also for teen parents. Not just the mother, but you can also include the father in these, where they're offered support, counseling, and they work with their support system. So sometimes teens lose the connection with their family, and they get a friend who supports them. So it's really important to connect with those support systems and finding out what support system they have, and then connect them to the social services. That can be TANF, that can be WIC, the so that can also alleviate some of the things, but that would be more with the intensive case manager, so that they can help them with those resources. And then some potential benefits of intense case management can include increased use of contraceptives, increased academic achievement, increased high school completion. And also with this, it can prevent and help reduce rapid repregnancy. So a mom just gave birth a few months ago and she's pregnant again. So with intensive case management, that can also reduce that from happening. And the next slides are going to be our resources, or references, sorry.
All of the
references. So we have 3 pages of reference.
And we just want to thank you all so much for being a part of this conversation. We hope this is just a starting point in your development, in your research into whenever you do interact. And if you do interact with a client that is pregnant, that's a teen, parents that are teens, we hope this was beneficial and helpful for you all. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you so much. And we hope you have a lovely rest of your day.